in a spaceship. This is like the city, a big old city. Don't get lost in the influences, the people, the moods. Don't get lost in passion and communication. Don't get lost in the air. Don't be so much aware of everything. You know, you wanna like sometimes be blind to some shit, like dark, like the night. You know, it don't always gotta be so bright all the time. You know, because when you just lost into many things, it's like you might not necessarily have the awareness in the right areas of things you need to, because you could be blinded in other areas in ways that you might not realize. So just don't get lost in the light, you know? Don't get lost in the light. Okay. So then, this is just like, this reminds me of like a vault, like what you would turn the thing to get and open some valuables. But it also reminds me of a city, like you go, like I seen this episode of this show, like anime on YouTube called Otaku Teacher or something like that. And they basically had like an underground school, but the way you get there was like through a highway. And so, like, let's say this is the highway, they had to drive through the highway, and then they had to like go up into a world. Like when they went into the world, when they went through the highway, they went down. But then once they went down, they created their own sky, they created their own light, they created their own machine assistants and everything. So it was their own version of what was going on, but from like a different perspective. So this just kind of shows me just like different perspectives, and this is actually just the backside. This is the backside of this. I started with this. I did this side first, and then I seen like the outline. I seen the outline from when I did this on the back of this. So then I just used that to color pencil through. That's actually one of my favorite things to do when I draw and stuff, when it bleeds through. I like when it bleeds through because it just adds some more creativity. Like with this, I'm gonna add more to it, like, because this is just, without me adding anything, but I could see myself, and these are just ways I like to improve and expand my art. I feel like getting more comfortable with me talking about it can help open and expand different, things and stuff. But yeah, so I also want to show too, like, so it kind of looks like these is like when I showed these, this is pretty much separate. This is what it looks like on top of each other. On top of each other, you can see like, different ways you can act out things. Like, how like Muppet puppet shows, or like when people use their imagination towards inanimate objects and stuff, and people create different like toys and stuff for kids to be able to use, and stuff like that, whatever. So like this is like a version of like creativity, when this is just my own way of doing things basically. So my own way is through like drawing and painting my own images, right? And then I just cut out from like each one, like different parts. So this is like a bigger image, but this is like a subsection basically. And I use like in between here to cut as well, like, just showcasing different areas. But yeah, so when it's like against something like this, right? And then this is on top. It kind of shows, I think my plane might be boarding, I think. Let's see. 5. Oh, no. But yeah, so, you see how you can like add just like different things. So, like, in between there, right? I can put like this one, and it just kind of adds more of a story, like more of like an image, like more of like like this right here. It reminds me of like when you play radio or when you play like something that you got to make the movie music or whatever, like a radio boombox, something, the vinyl things, like and stuff. And then it also looks like just somebody's eyes looking out in the distance. Like this is one eye, this is the other eye. Like, I love that when I look at my art, I can see so many different things, and it's not just, you know, some like I like to make things just in my own way, just like be an individual. And what you do doesn't have to fit into some type of category that they have put out in the world. You feel me? Like just because there's different categories out in the world doesn't mean that you have to necessarily fit into those labels, into those designs, those templates, those whatever the case may be. So yeah, like even if this was considered like some type of like abstract art or something like that, it's okay because I'm putting my own meaning and reasoning behind what it means to abstract art. And I just feel like when you gain abilities, when you create abilities, it's based off of you experiencing. So these is all through my experiences. I experienced a lot, and this was my way, of like just, like expanding from that. And I just really really love to do art, and this is like a whole like art book for real. And I just really value and I love and I appreciate my art because like I just never like I'm not gonna lie, like I just never seen no art like this before, like, and I love it, like I love that I can really just sit and be like, wow, I really created that, like that's amazing. But yeah, I know the moon is in air right now, and I'm already a Libra sun, so I can be talking your head off until, who knows when. But I just want to show. So this is from one thing, and I just cut it separately, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, and then I want to show y'all too one other thing, right? So, let me see if I can find it. The big house. But yeah, I really love this. This is my first time using a toned blue sketchbook, and then I also have this one that I'm gonna be using for like my trip, just to do art and stuff. But yeah, this is one of my favorites, low key. And then also, I'm gonna show you another one of my favorites. And I also too love how like when I'm like doing even things like this, how the art is like all interacting with each other and stuff. Like I just feel like it's an experience. Like I see my art as like this is all swimming around in the ocean and stuff. And it's also, just so y'all know, like it's like 4 something in the morning, and I've been just like running around, and I've been up all day and stuff. And I had an iced coffee not too long ago, and so it's like I'm, just ready to kind of get on the plane, close my eyes, but I'm just chilling right now and just wanted to share, some of my art because my art is about to travel with me. When I came to Puerto Rico 2 years ago, I brought my art with me here too. This is not it, but I brought art with me here too from just some Dollar Tree canvases and stuff. And now I got this art with me now when I go back. And so I just made it like a transition, I made my own tradition where like whenever I'm traveling and going to certain locations and places, I'm going to make sure that I bring my art with me, It's just like like what creates me, like what I've created, and what is also like a sense of like protected in a way too. Where it's like any ideas and thought patterns that I have, if I'm already knowing that everything is started from like an internal space, and then when you look around, that's when you're able to see externally, right? So this is of course just things that I created. And I've talked about this before where, I would just draw, paint, whatever the case may be, and I wouldn't be thinking much about anything that I'm doing. I would just be doing it, and then I would look later and see what it is that I created, and it just shows me another way to communicate, not just through words, you know. But yeah, so that's some of my art, you feel me? And yeah, art from the airport in San Juan. Oh yeah, like I was saying, like as far as like the traditions and stuff like that. So, and I just know, like, how sometimes when people travel, they eat like um like they might be more hungry, they might be more like, I guess sometimes people get tired from flights and stuff like that, and so they might eat and get more hungry and stuff like that or whatever. Like I see my art as more like my fuel, like my like I have more than enough, like I'm not like, this is what I'm receiving and seeing after, like it's not being so fixated and lost in certain desires like food can do sometimes. Of course there's balance and equilibrium, you're doing things in moderation. But yeah, and it's just moon day also too. Like I said, it's like, what time is, like, early